Welcome to Cal's Cinema. This is Under the Skin. Before we move on to another video on this year's Oscar contenders, I thought I'd take time to examine a film that I rediscovered just the other night. Under the Skin is a sci-fi thriller from director Jonathan Glazer, who would himself go on to win an Oscar for the 2023 Holocaust drama The Zone of Interest. Back in 2013, the premise of the low-budget Glasgow set story of a female alien picking up men sounds like either a wacky comedy or a spin-off of the absolute cinema of the Species series of films. But as we'll get into, Under the Skin is a different being to your usual extraterrestrial science fiction flick, and as always, we'll give the movie a score out of 10. So if you'd like to see videos on under the radar movies on visitors from another world, along with everything else, feel free to hit. Normally, when talking about a film that is based on a book or other media, I try to stick to what's in the film, but Under the Skin is in fact so bare bones that this review will have to expand a little bit beyond just what is shown on screen. Yeah, there's a lot of that. Not that minimal dialogue is necessarily a bad thing in films, but when used as sparingly as here, you really need a lot more show don't tell than Under the Skin has going on. But we'll come back to that. Lost in translations, Charlotte and Lucy Scarlett Johansson is the nameless, eerie female alien curb crawling for meals around Glasgow in a white van. That's not so much of a feverish wet dream, but a nightmare for the men of the area, as this attempt at dead-eyed seduction is all to serve a greater purpose, beyond having them just strip off and awkwardly dance in a black void. Before we get into what seems to be the alien's goal with all this, here's a good place as any to include a spoiler warning for Under the Skin. If you've not seen the film and would like to come back to this video once you've discovered the stripped down plot for yourself, then now's your chance. So, as we discover in The Void, the alien's victims are submerged in some form of fluid or something. They eventually get reverse skinned, like the inside of the body is sucked out, leaving just a hollowed out husk of the once horny man that once was. And that's normally a good thing, but not here, as the seemingly liquefied remains of our victims are spun out into beams or fibers. We can guess that they are in fact being harvested. And in looking up the novel with the same name that the film is based on, by Michel Faber, this is exactly what's going on. Again, I'm normally all for a little mystery in my science fiction. Not everything needs to be spelled out, but in this case I just felt like uncovering a little more colour to the story, if you like, behind the scenes. The plot of the book offers insight on the aliens' motives, race, and even homeworld, so I'd recommend checking that out if the film, like me, left you a little numb. Scarlett Johansson's performance is impressive given that she has so little to do, with very little dialogue outside of her character's brief interactions with her prey. Or that could be construed as her having a lot to do to carry the performance without the help of those extra lines, if that makes sense. Scarlett is perfectly eerie and subtly unnerving, even while remaining alluring enough to make the willing abductions believable. Because if Scarlett Johansson pulls up in a dodgy white van on a dark night, of course you're getting into that van. I would anyway, and end up as intergalactic hot dog meat on a trough. Another notable performance is that of Adam Pearson, Oswald from A Different Man, in his first film role. as the one character who survives as the alien frees him when she discovers some form of humanity or morality in her new life on Earth. The film has to be praised for its eye-catching visuals, especially since they were done on a budget, and also for its unsettling soundtrack, which carries the tension and in some places horror through to the grim ending. As the alien sheds its skin, the being underneath is set alight by the same man who just assaulted her in a bothy beforehand. And on that note, with its underlying themes of, well, alienation and feminism in regards to how the men of the film view Johansson's character as a sexual object or conquest, even if that is her mission, the sense of the alien's vulnerability is fully realised with her violent end at the hands of her male attacker, and fully unprovoked, it should be noted, in contrast to her previous interactions. So, what's the verdict on Under the Skin? Well, despite its mesmerising visuals and a skillfully understated performance from Scarlett Johansson, the science fiction film feels largely empty, much like the vast wilderness of Scotland used in some scenes. Those important themes are put front and centre beyond some much needed world building and even further character development beyond the alien's late personal awakening. These may be plus points for some other viewers, but for me, Under the Skin could have borrowed more from its source material and got a little more meat on its extraterrestrial bones, and for that reason it mostly falls flat with a 6.2 out of 10. So, what did you think of Under the Skin? Were you a fan of its restrained approach to its sci-fi story, or do you prefer your alien films to be more of a spectacle? You can let me know in the comments, and be sure to like, subscribe, and come back again to Cal Cinema.